Hello, everyone. I'm Jean-Claude BeyondMystic, and welcome to this deep woo-woo episode entitled Time Space Continuum, where the woo-woo meets the Bible. Of course, my guest today is Mr. POLNY. You can find his work at gold2020forecast.com and here on YouTube also at gold2020forecast. Mr. POLNY, welcome back to the show.
Hi, Jean-Claude. God bless you. Thanks for having me back on. I appreciate you. Thank you.
How's it going? I know you were feeling a little bit under the weather last week. You and I had some scheduling issues. Are you feeling better?
Yes. The first time, I was like, Satan, you know what? It's just, I've just been so incredibly healthy for so long. And it was just like this one day that hit me. And oh boy, I was just like down for the count. It was the greatest thing. I was in bed for a whole day. Jean-Claude, I haven't done that in probably 2 years. So that was like, as horrible as it was as great as it was at the same time too. So
I kind of envy you too, because for me, like, it's so busy with all the shows and the emails and everything. I'm like, oh man, I wish I had a day in the bed. That would be cool.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Well, thank you for being on, Bo. I know we have a lot to go through. Thank you so much for sending me this slide deck. Now, can I share this link for the audience also to follow along?
Absolutely. Yeah. There's new content in there. I got a lot more revelation, and I put more pieces together for your viewers and our viewers.
Okay.
I even included some prophetic words. So this is going to be good.
Okay, hold on. Let me make sure I have the right link, because you sent me two right before the show. Let me just double check. This is right. Yeah, so this one here. Okay, and I'll bring that down in the live chat. And folks, also, once we get started here, I'll put that in the description box below, and I'll pin it also later after the show if you're looking for this. So now, as you see in the live chat, you have the direct link there to this presentation. Bo, let's dive right in, man. Holy crap, the energies are crazy. We're just now into this big eclipse. We're seeing a lot of shake-up moments already, and we're getting reports from everything. So I'm looking forward to having your report and see how this ties in with the predictive and linguistics, with the remote viewers, with the tarots, and also the astrology. Everybody's pointing at, holy shit, December is the month to watch. So let's get started. Where do you want to go here, Bo?
Yeah, just start off on page 1, and we can kind of scroll through the deck. I moved the pages around so we can kind of gauge the conversation.
Okay.
If you want to also, can you give me like maybe 30 seconds, Jean-Claude?
Sure.
On what you're hearing, or what you heard, or what some of the big pieces you have, so we can kind of like merge, what you're hearing from the mystic side, and then I really want to layer in the Bible to your viewers today to really have you understand, how God is tied in with this, and I want to use the word directly.
Okay.
Because that's really what it is. So tell me give me like 30 seconds on, some of the key bullet points that you've heard.
Okay, well, and for the audience members, this is where the woo-woo meets the Bible. So, of course, we're going to talk about here how God ties into all of this. So, very succinctly here on the psychic side, we're seeing these rapid-fire tower card moments, so big shakeups. So that was a recurring theme here for most of the psychics on the show. Now, in terms of the predictive linguistics, Cliff also posted a video a couple of days ago. I forget the title of it now. Let me see if I can bring it up. I think it was Rumors of Woo, or it could have been Yule Woo. Actually, it's Yule Woo, I think, is the one the audience will be looking for to get the timing here. And so he was looking at December 11th, December 21st, December 25th. This is coming up in his data. And what he's seeing is on or about the 11th here is a shake-up moment, and it's a setup for all of these energies moving very, very rapidly for December. And what he was explaining as, typically in a war type scenario, you have an engagement of the troops, and then you have a little bit of a downtime. The people regroup, we heal their wounds, and then we go back when we have another engagement. And so there's this up-down cycle. What he's saying is that moving forward here for December, the down cycle is going to be so small and so short that we won't perceive any down cycles. So again, what he's saying in his own words is we're going to see these rapid fire events here happen very, very shortly. Now, in terms of the astrology, also, a new person on the show, Julie, was interviewed with Janine and I last week, and she was also looking at these eclipses and these major dates here happening, again, 11th to 21st and the 25th, also tying in with the same dates that, oddly enough, Cliff was picking up in his wrap-up data. So in terms of the astrology, though, she was explaining how these particular planets were going to be affecting structures, governance structures, and finances. So really, those were the key core elements. Finance, and the structures around finances are going to have a big shakeup here in December. And those attributes were basically driving us maybe for the next 3 or 4 months. So we were going to be in a huge transformational period here, starting in December, leading all the way maybe all the way April, if I'm not mistaken. So that's about it succinctly here for what the mystic side of things are picking up right now. Where do you tie in with some of the?
Yeah, no, and that's the thing, because honestly, I do what I do. I really haven't watched any of your shows, and I wanted to kind of get your 2 cents, or your touch on what you're saying. I knew from our last couple interviews, you've been saying a lot of things about, when they're pulling these cards, they're hearing, these events are supposed to, whatever they were called, these cards. And so what I want to make clear to everybody, and just to understand, the reason we haven't seen anything, and this goes to the words of Matthew within the Bible, okay? This was a prophetic word given to me as well about 3 years ago by Lois Vogel Sharp, okay? And it's really important to understand the magnitude of what I'm about to say, because you see, we know, as much as I hope your viewers know, but I know Jean-Claude, we are in a spiritual battle here. It's Ephesians. It's a battle. This is not a battle against flesh and blood. It's principalities of darkness. So we are in a spiritual battle. The evil side, the Satanist, the evil wants to control humanity. And you know that to be true. You've done all the research on that as well too. You got a little feedback coming through. Maybe it's on your end.
Oh, I'm adjusting I adjusted something differently to play these videos later. So let me bring that down back and keep going. I'll fix this.
Okay. So we're in a spiritual battle here between good and evil. Okay. Now, this is the point I want to make. Please think God is the ultimate genius, because he is the creator. You have to understand, before you were, God was. God is the creator of everything, of this planet we stand on. He created everything. Okay, so evil is trying to take dominion of the earth, and so you're seeing the psychotic stuff that's going on in Germany. Particularly, we're seeing the crazy going on in Australia. So what they're trying to do. They've basically, this past 12 months, it's been a look behind the curtain. They have shown you their cards. They've shown you what they want to do. They've shown the world how sick they are, but we now know what they're trying to do. They've shown you, they bypass all the laws. They enact mandates. It's evil upon evil. They don't care who they step on. They have an agenda with an end goal of what we talked about, which was described in those pillars of a depopulate, where they want to basically take away sizable, 90% of humanity, as sick as that sounds, but that's, go look at the Georgia Guidestones. Okay. So now back to why it hasn't happened yet. Because it states in the Bible in Matthew, before the return of Christ. Okay. So before Christ returns, no one knows the day or the hour. And that's critical because, and we're seeing that exactly right now. We'll discuss that on the slides later. But the reason your psychics, whoever they're speaking to, the point is no one, you've spoken to many people, Jean-Claude, no one knows the day or the hour. It was supposed to maybe be in I was calculating it out to be the latter part of November. It still hasn't happened yet. And the key word is yet. Why? Because no one knows the day or the hour. And the reason for this is the key reason. So the evil side, Satan, will have no counter, no offensive. It will not be, the evil ones in control right now will not have a counterplay. When God moves his hand, they will be utterly destroyed with no counteroffensive to stop what just happened. And this will be, because I've stated before, and it's Isaiah 61. This is the year of the Lord's favor and the day of his vengeance. That was also confirmed by Kent Christmas just on the 5th of December. We'll play that video later today. But he specifically stated Kent Christmas, who is one of the most mind-blowing connected people with God. He is the most incredible prophet, I think, that walks on the face of this earth right now. And his words were specifically, no one knows the day or the hour. This event will occur in a 24-hour window. So God is hiding the event, and he's hiding the day and the hour. And when it occurs, this will be the greatest event in human history. And it will change everything as we know it, and there will be no counter by evil. Evil will be stopped in its tracks and will not be able to counter the offensive put in by God. So that is what is about to happen. And the reason for this being a secret is because God cannot reveal even to his prophets. That's why no one's picked it up, including all of, as awesome as Cliff's work is, right? He can't pick up the event. And you can't really pick up the day or the hour. There's potential dates. They know these things can happen. But no one knows the specific day or the hour because the event is going to be so big, so incredible that it's God's secret. And when it happens, the world will know. Not we will. The world will know what just happened. Can't hear you, Jean-Claude.
Yeah, hold on. Yeah, sorry about that. Again, I changed the settings here to do your video.
No, that's good. So I hope that gives you and your viewers some really good clarity as to we're not in a month, we're not in the year, we are right now at the day and the hour, Jean-Claude.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very exciting. All right, let's get into all of this data. You've added quite a few slides here since the last time we shared this with the audience. Let me bring this up here. And also I want to say, like, I appreciate what you're saying here too, because for a lot of people watching this, whether they're looking at the prophets, because of course, if God doesn't want anybody to know the dates, the prophets also don't have the dates and the hour of this happening, or whether they're looking at the woo people also see like the general direction of where it's going, but the timing is very hard to pin. They always say the same thing. Well, timing is hard to pin. And of course, it makes sense if we're in this spiritual galactic war that we're in, that we wouldn't be told the timing. I mean, it would be productive.
There's a couple key specific dates in the Bible, that, and God flat out, it was a prophecy that I got 3 years ago. God says, no one knows the day or the hour of this event. God actually said it to me through Lois, and he referenced my name specifically. He was telling me, don't try to find the day or the hour because no one knows it, not even my son. And the reason being is because this is God's offensive. And the offensive is going to be, this offensive by God was planned out 6,000 years ago. Mm-hmm. Okay, this goes back to the statue of Daniel. Daniel 2, we talked about how all the kingdoms have existed, from Greece, Germany, all these kingdoms, Babylon, everyone's existed except, Daniel 12:34, which is basically the fall of Babylon. Mm-hmm. And so, this prophecy that we're living in, this world we live in, was the whole story was written by God 6,000 years ago. And we're at a point now, we're about to see the fall of Babylon. What is Babylon? And what did you say in the first part of this presentation? The whole thing is premised on what, Jean-Claude? The finances. Mm-hmm. The finances. What was our first presentation that you and I did? I reached out to you, or you reached out to me, but I think it was something we had communications like in July, I think it was, of this year. And I said that the takedown of the entire establishment is going to be done by the fall of the dollar. And then you started that series, the fall of the petrodollar, the fall of the petrodollar, and that was tied in because I knew that was tied in directly with it. How it was all layering in with a 50-year cycle, and then that was the 50 days to the mark was the fall of Kabul. And then you had the Evergrande debacle on Rosh Hashanah, September 6th, right? Yeah. And so we're at the protractor. We've gotten to 180 degrees. So basically from November 22nd, 23rd, we are supposed to see the hand of God. But the hand of God is hidden until that magical, it's the precise date and hour, because the math is perfect in God's mathematical calculations. He's hiding the day and the hour of what we're about to see. It's like when Nebuchadnezzar, the story in the Bible, I think it's Daniel 5, Nebuchadnezzar, takes out the gold chalices and drinking and partying and is having a heck of a good time. All of a sudden, a hand comes out of nowhere. A hand comes out of nowhere and writes on the wall, many, many tekel charis. Your days are your kingdom. You have been weighed and found wanting. Your kingdom has come to an end and will be given to the Medes and the Persians, I think, is what was written. And that night he died. Mm-hmm. That was a 24-hour window of when this all went down. We are in this time window, and we're in the month now. That's why I believe December is the month, and the month of November is going to be epic. It's like that moment in time where the hand of God comes out and just utterly destroys these people in a 24-hour window. And neither I nor anyone, no one knows when that will be. But all I know is that listening to the prophets, looking at my math calculations, we are beyond that point now. So it could be imminent anytime, one of those kind of things. And how do we know? It starts like on page 1, like I have them there. Who is the mouthpiece for Satan? The mouthpiece for the father of lies is CNN. And Chris Cuomo was their mouthpiece. Okay. God just showed us what he's about to do. He basically the next CNN falls like the wall of Jericho. So that's what's about to happen. So with Chris Cuomo, and this was in November. So that was, we were supposed, my friend Manuel Johnson said Christmas in November. That was the Christmas event. That was our gift. That was our
and now since then also
gift.
We're seeing the ties with Zucker as well. So this whole house,
yes, right. The whole house of cards is about to come down, and then the prophecy is this is a prophetic word already about them, is they will fall like the walls of Jericho. And for those who don't know their story, but basically, Israel marched around Jericho 7 times by the instruction of God, blew their horn, and then the walls just collapsed. Okay, and Jericho was finished, and they were destroyed. So this is where we're at. If you go to page 2, there was a prophecy, and my friend of mine, Manuel Johnson, I will be interviewing with him later today as well. But if you want to click the link, there's 3-minute prophecy that he actually gave us in October, and the prophecy is very interesting. Your viewers will like this. He actually gave us there is a link. And that means the prophetic word relation to an individual. He knew who he was too. He didn't want to say it in the interview, but he knew that there was a preacher that was supposed to die, and right after he dies, the Great Reset goes live. That is about to happen.
Okay, that's very important. And so, folks, let me play this video here. The sound quality of the video we're trying to play is a little bit off, so I know it's not going to be ideal, but within a minute or two, the video quality comes up a little bit. So you'll see a little bit of difference here in the sound, but I've put up closed captioning as well, so you'll be able to read what the gentleman on the video is also saying. So let me try to set that up very quickly for you guys and
then if later on if they want to go, they can click that live link on the PDF presentation. They can listen to it on their own later.
Yeah, so this link here, guys, just click on that and you can go and watch it on your computer as well. So let me attempt here to play that here for the audience. Now I've skipped a little bit here to get through the intro, and I think we're ready to go.
Another giant of faith. Very soon. But it owns a very, very, very large network. Christian network. The general of the faith that we all know and love. But it owns a large, large worldwide Christian network. We'll be going home very soon with the Lord. These are going to be signs that God's going to start dealing with his nation, the United States of America. I want you to write this down. It's going to happen very soon. It's very important that you understand this. It could be weeks, it could be a few months, but it's going to happen. This is a good thing. Get ready, saints. Get ready. And it's going to hit. Even the media is going to say things about it. Even the mainstream media will take footage of it. When this happens, get ready, because the wealth transfer is going to start to begin. Did anybody receive it? Once this happens, the wealth transfer is going to start to begin. There's a Monday anointing right now happening. You kingdom-minded. 2022 is going to be a year of uncommon supernatural healing. 2022, the Lord had already showed me that many people are going to be supernaturally healed in the year 2022 without even going to a healing service. They will wake up and it's gone. They will wake up and like, wow. They will wake up and go, I look 20 years younger, my God. They will wake up and go, look at me. 2022 is going to be, will start the harvest of supernatural healing. Come on, get that, receive it.
I receive it in Jesus' name. Hallelujah.
I'm writing it. I want you to write it down so we get it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Who else is coming this? I want to make sure there's no more mistakes. This vision I would.
Okay, I believe I'm at the Q mark, Bo. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, that was it. So basically, if you in that prophecy, it was done on October 13th, and there was a Marcus Lamb that was, and he knew that was, he was given it as Marcus Lamb. He didn't want to post that. He told me that was Marcus Lamb, and then he died on October 2nd. I'm sorry, December 2nd.
Right.
So the prophecy was an October 13th prophecy that he was to die very soon, and as soon as he dies, and he died of COVID, right after his death, you will see the Great Reset.
Wow.
So that's one prophetic word that is, it's truly historic because he knew who it was before it happened.
Fascinating. So, and you'll be interviewing him today on your channel?
Yeah. I went to dinner with him. We're friends. We've become friends. So he lives here in California.
So very good. So guys, if you're watching now and you want to see that interview, please you check it out at Goal 2020 Forecast here on YouTube. Let me bring that link.
And he is the one. And also to let you know, for your viewers, you viewers should watch this because he is the prophet. He's the only prophet that speaks of cryptocurrencies.
Oh, that's interesting. Wow.
Mm-hmm. Okay. God has shown him. He woke up and he was in New York on Wall Street and he saw the prices of all the cryptos in January.
Wow, fascinating. Okay,
so
wow,
you might want to watch.
Fascinating indeed. All right, let's get back to our slide deck.
So back to the presentation. So page 3 takes us to those of know my work. Everything revolves around a 7-year cycle.
Right.
And then page 4, we're going to skip through the pages kind of quickly here, but then page 4 takes us to the start of all evil. The reason God created a 6,000-year prophecy was because of what Satan did. He entered Earth. He was led on Earth by Adam and Eve, and because he spoiled God's perfect creation, God had to create events to take us back to Eden. So it started in Eden, and we're heading back to Eden. If you go to page 5, the story itself, it was 4,000 years of the Jews. This is incredible because if you've listened to my work of the past in the markets and stock market cycles, all of this ties into a 4-2-1 pattern, whether it's 4-2-1 dailies, monthlies, weeklies, yearlies, 1,000 years. So we 4,000 years of the Jews. Then Christ showed up. Then we have 2,000 years of the Gentiles. We don't have a whole lot of time left before the 2,000 years expires. And then we have 1,000 year of millennial reign. And we know if those that read or have read or read Revelation, right? The Revelation states that before Christ returns, Antichrist shows up. And the reason Christ comes is to destroy him. Who is Antichrist? It's anything against Christ, but basically it's an entity, just like you saw with what happened with Hitler. And that was an Antichrist figure. And if you don't think they're trying to do that right now, just turn on the news.
Yeah, I think you've been living underneath a rock if you don't see what's going on now. Yeah, absolutely. Okay.
It's really sick.
Yeah.
So page 7 is page 6 is a return to Eden. Page 7 is the 4 horsemen. we are currently at horseman number 3. So if you go to horseman number page 8 takes us to the seals of revelation. We've had the first 2 open. The third one technically is opened as of the market crash of March of last year, 2020, but it's not manifest yet. It is manifest to the degree of the hyperinflation money printing.
Right.
So you know that one of my slides there about showed that hockey stick moment where the money printing since the market crash of last year has been like it's been absolute like go to St. Louis Fed straight up. It's actually since we're on that, just go click to page 19. There it is. That's I downloaded this from the St. Louis Fed. Look at that in the red. That's the money printing. Okay, so that's the third seal of revelation, the start of it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now we can go back, and so the third seal, and then ultimately it's the financial rebalancing. So we go to page 9, and this is the third seal, and this ties in directly with there's 2 parts to the specific parts to the third seal of revelation. It's the black horse with an entity on it holding scales. So the black represents the death. So that would correlate to what Cliff even had in his data. I'm telling you, Cliff picks up the words of psychics, obviously, because people have, but he's also picking up the words of prophets. It's a combination of everything. He's picking up abnormal words that pop up, in his data searches. And so what did he say? Okay, remember back to my time of 4,000 years of the Jews, 2,000 years of the Gentiles, and 1,000 year millennial reign, 421.
Yeah.
No, do that backwards, 124. How many people did he see dead next year? 124, 1.24 billion.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I don't know how he came up with that, but it's interesting. All things that make you go, right? So that's all I can say, but it's fascinating that he didn't say 1.23.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
So the black horse represents death, and the scales is the dollar and gold. So it's a rebalancing of the financial system. That goes to the prophecy of Emmanuel, the great financial reset. We're at the doorstep of it right now. And then there's 3 pivotal months that we're heading into here. So on page 10, the key months, we've just passed through November. So that was the first pivotal month. And that was God moving his hand. Initially, that was the triggering of the fall of CNN. So what happens in these key months, then you have the effect the next 2 months. Does that make sense? Yeah. So God began some of his things that he's triggered, and that was with the CNN. Now we're going to watch the effects of it for December into January. The next key month comes in February. So something again supposed to trigger large in February. Then we're going to see March and April, the effects of what happened in February, and that then leads us into May, and then May ties in directly with with the Red Sea moment. If you go to next page, and this ties into when Pharaoh was destroyed. Literally, he was finished. Okay, so this whole story, we're in the start of it. Crazy things are about to happen, but by May 14th of next year, Pharaoh and all his army is dead. So that's because that will be that's when God closes the Red Sea, and it's over. It's over, and that would
by May it's over. Yeah, that sounds a lot. Also, with like the astrology, they were saying like up until April, and then suddenly in the spring, we're starting to see finally we can breathe. We're basically in a new space or a new time or a new era where the balances have really tipped. And Janine keeps picking this. What you call this Wheel of Fortune card, and she's explaining that, like in French, we say les derniers seront les premiers and les premiers seront les derniers. So basically, a reversal of fortunes. Those on top become underneath, and those underneath now finally become on top. And all of this apparently happens in these next couple of months. And by April, May, it's basically all done, is what they're picking up. So you're very close on your timing. Very interesting.
So it's So I don't, again, no one knows events, right? But biblically, Christ walked into the temple, flipped tables on the money changers, right?
Yeah.
And so these are like events that we're about to see, and we're in Isaiah 61. I got to keep going back to Isaiah 61 because the year of the Lord's favor, but the day of his vengeance, and no one knows that day because that's hidden in the secret. But when this goes down, all I can tell you, it's going to go down, and now into this time point in May, and then you got the Kim Clement prophecy of they fall and fall.
Mm-hmm.
And I will build and release the resources in fall. And so fall ends December 21. So all of these prophetic words are coming together.
Yeah.
And so by the time of May, these people, there's prophecy of mass, these people running for the hills. But God says, the prophet through the prophets is, I know where you live and I'm coming after you.
Mm-hmm.
So regardless of them resigning everything they're doing, it's hopeless for them, because it's in the Bible, it says, sow your seed.
Mm-hmm.
They have, and whatever seed you have planted, you shall reap.
Mm-hmm.
And these people have sown some nasty seeds.
Nasty.
And they are now going to reap what they have sown.
Mm-hmm.
Just like God's church has also sown seed into the ministry, and they will be massively blessed for what they have sown.
Mm-hmm.
So we're at a time of harvest. That is where we're at. Harvest is in fall. So, all I know is, we're at a point where something could potentially happen before the end of fall. If you go to page 12, we're stepping into what is called a kingdom economy. Mm-hmm. And that is a transfer of wealth. That is what I talked about, earlier. When Israel left Egypt, they left with spoils. They didn't leave poor. They left with they got paid for 400 years of labor. Mm-hmm. They walked out of there with all of Egypt's gold.
Mm-hmm.
So that is what we're heading into, a kingdom economy. A kingdom economy is an economy that's backed by God's money. Mm-hmm. Who is the king? Christ. So him being the king, he's going to come into an economy that's backed by his money, gold and silver, real money, honest money.
Mm-hmm.
It's a new era of honesty. And so that's where we're heading. But now this is actually very interesting. I think page 13 you're going to enjoy. Excuse me. Gold fever. Actually, a couple. Page 13 or page 14 is better, but page 13 basically talks about God through his prophets already said the current monetary system that we use today, by the end of this decade, will completely be gone, be destroyed, will have totally failed. So if you're not holding God's money, mm-hmm. what will you do? Would be a good question you might want to ask yourself. But that's what's coming.
Yeah.
A prophetic word. This is a part that I think you will really enjoy. This is one morning I woke up and I get like words. God connects with me. He'll say like words. And he said the word cankered. Cankered. He kept saying cankered. Cankered. I'm like, cankered. I'm like, I know that. So I quickly pulled up my Bible out and what it's James 5, 1 through 10. And I think you and your viewers, if you haven't heard this, you're going to love this, because this describes what you've already spoken about on the show, Jean-Claude. Okay. So I'll read it to you. Go to now, ye rich men, weep and howl for the miseries that shall come upon you. Your riches are corrupt, and your garments are moth-eaten. Your gold and silver is cankered, and the rust of them shall be witness against you, and shall eat your flesh as if it were fire. You have heaped treasures together for the last days. The wages you have withheld from the laborers who have mowed your fields and cried out, and the cries of the harvesters have come to the ears of the Lord. You have lived luxuriously and have fattened your hearts in the days of slaughter. You have condemned and put to death righteous men. Be patient, therefore, brethren, unto the coming of the Lord. As the farmer waits for the precious harvest from the land. We're in Thanksgiving here. Mm-hmm. Being patient about it until it receives the early and the latter rain. Take my brethren, the prophets, who have spoken in my name, in the name of the Lord, for an example of suffering and affliction and of patience. So the takeaway from this is ye, you, your, that are referenced in James 5. It's not my people who are called by my name, as referenced in 2 Chronicles. Right. They are the ones that run the system. It's there. So an example of that would be which we've spoken about, right? The SLV contracts. the GLD contracts.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. These are all paper representation of God's money, but not God's money. So what's going to be exposed, it says, this will be witness against you and will eat your flesh like fire. What is that? When it comes exposed that there's nothing to back the GLD, Caesar has no clothes.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes exposed that the whole thing was a sham.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned something about the harvest, and a few people in the chat were quoting something. I'm trying to see if it went really fast here, but they were talking about the harvest of the corn, and that was a phrase that Cliff was picking up also. And he wasn't talking about corn, the yellow thing, the stalk, and he was talking about farm products. Farm products being those who were groomed to run these shows at the farm, and we don't need to get into the details of that. But when we saw this Cuomo character here leave, and perhaps others in short order, we're seeing now, I believe, the beginning of the harvesting of the corn, those actual farm products there, those people who are part of that system. So we're here now, but that was also tying into his Webbot data that talked about the $600 silver. And I asked Janine in our last Beyond Crypto Woo report, and see if we can bring it up here just a couple of days ago, if we were still on track for that $600 silver before Christmas or on or around Christmas. And it was a big hell yeah. Big Arcana cards again. So it appears we're very much in that time frame. So for a lot of people watching the show here who are, been patiently waiting with the word of God and who have gold and silver in their hands, I think they're right there, very close here to ringing the bell and having that reward.
And another thing with the prophets have spoken, this is important. Ye who sits on the fence will not be blessed.
Yeah.
This was spoken. Ye who sits on the fence will not be blessed. What does that mean? If you're the wait and see kind of person, okay, you will not be blessed. Who will be blessed is those who have prepared for the financial event that's upon us and everything else that's coming.
Listen to this.
Waiting.
What you just said, I love it too, because when Janine and some other psychics were still doing personal readings, they all were picking for this year that their clients would suddenly see this huge wealth income, like a huge reversal of fortunes where they would have to talk about generational wealth. And I keep asking all of those psychics, what did all those clients have in common? What was the common denominator? They said, oh, they own gold and silver, right? So they had already prepared. They were already moving on that. So again, what you're just saying now, those who are sitting on the fence, you get
those who are sitting on the fence, the prophetic word, ye have already chosen.
Yeah.
You have already chosen.
Right.
So the wheat, so what has happened at this point in time, Jean-Claude, is the seeds have all been planted.
Yeah.
The seeds you have been planted, you are about to sow.
Yeah.
And it's too late to change. You've planted your seeds. We're here at this moment in time. It's going to be biblical. Next page, you're going to love this part. This is sowing seed. What does sowing seed mean? In the Bible, it means that which you if you send money to a ministry, you're sowing into that ministry. Okay, so an example of sowing into something, if you plan to do something into the future, if you sow into something, so let's say you sow some silver, and a very good example, I've shown you an example of sowing silver. Okay, and the Bible talks about in Matthew 13:16 through 23 that those that sow. So as for those who sow on good soil, and who hears and understands. So they hear what we're saying, Jean-Claude, and they understand what we're saying, because there's a difference between hearing and understanding. Okay.
Yeah.
And so they hear and they understand. They will bear fruit that yields 100-fold, others 60, and others 30.
Well, that's interesting. Can you explain that? Do you understand the
So this is a parable that Christ gave. And he says, those who sow into good soil, meaning into the word of God. So those who sow into the word of God will, and then the blessing, these are blessings. So how high your blessings could be, and what you've done for the ministry, what you've done for God, what you've done. So some may only see 30,
right,
because of what they've done, to the degree of compared to others that have done, multiples, right?
Okay, I
and
understand.
so they'll be, so the blessings are based on what you've done for the ministry.
Right.
And so mathematical calculations of that. So if you take this is just a sowing $1,000, right? That would buy you 28 eagles presently today, roughly.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
At a price of 750 spot, right?
Yeah.
You're looking at $21,000 because that eagle costs say $30 to $35 to buy. So you're roughly looking at $20,000 on sowing $1,000 on a 30-fold blessing.
Right.
60-fold blessing, roughly over 42,000, give or take. But and a 100-fold blessing will put you in the 70,000 for blessing at 100-fold.
I don't know about you, but that's a little bit more than the interest rate they're paying in your savings account at the
right. And so none of this will happen. Now, this is really critical. None of this will happen, Jean-Claude, unless God moves his hand. Unless that magic 24-hour moment in time, that not only use of magic, the biblical 24-hour moment in time where God intervenes, steps in, stops everything, and the move that he makes has been planned for 6,000 years. There will be no counteroffensive to it. They won't be able to stop what just happened. And then we will see immediately the move of precious metals, because precious metals will move with God's kingdom. I've repeated this numerous times. Gold will go up with God's kingdom. And the reverse of that is God's kingdom goes up with gold. Okay. They're tied at the hip.
Right.
That is why we've never seen this kind of stuff before, because for God's watch for thousands of years as these lunatics, run the world. And now it's time, because we're approaching the 2,000-year mark. So we're at the Jubilee moment. Again, in the next page, you might find interesting. This is just a general picture of the 421 cycle on the stock market, indicating we could have a lot of problems coming into September. It's a 124, 421 backward cycle, indicating September could be a lot of problems. Huge crash anywhere, from who knows how big the crash could be, but it could be as great as 80 or 90%. The next page I think you're going to love. This is a brand new page I just got, and I put together. Okay, so what you're looking at here is a 40-year cycle for the stock market. This is a problem because the minimum price target is a 47% crash on the stock market, taking it to 19,000. If that breaks, the next immediate target is 12,000, 66% crash. And that would be the maximum target of 5,000 on the Dow in 2022. Every 40 years, what you've got is a military conflict. So you've had a conflicts every 40 years, indicating with military conflict set up for next year. And if you look at the black line, that's from 1942, 1982. That's minimum target of 7,000 on the Dow at 80% crash.
Right.
That's your support line. So this is a long.
Speaking of war here, are you seeing anything either from prophecy or some of these mathematical equations that you have to forecast something happening with a war in China? A lot of people are looking at Ukraine, but really I think where we might actually see that manifest is China. And now with the Evergrande apparently here rumored to have actually defaulted in the CCP now, basically fortifying themselves here to start cutting off the investors outside of the mainland, we might see situations where warships are sent to get reparations for these bonds here. So very quickly, do you have anything there either from prophets or some of the mass cycles here that would indicate that?
Yeah, I don't have a stock market. I don't have a war cycle to reference directly, aside from what I'm showing you right there.
Okay.
The events that trigger them, I have no idea, but it does make sense. What you're describing.
Right.
It's just like in 1942, right? The war went from 1939 to 1945, but the middle of it was 1942, which means that potentially like a cliff.
We're in it now.
We're in it now, right?
Yeah.
So we're in it now. So don't be surprised that they'll continue to 2023, but the center of it is 2022. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So whoever that plays out, who knows? But just know this is two worlds collide, and as much as God's going to intervene on these people, they're finished. But don't be surprised if they still try to do something crazy.
Right.
And so we'll see how it plays out. But 2022 is not going to be a good year. In fact, that couples in with, I got to go back to the 1.24 billion.
Right.
In the Black Horse.
And we're seeing a lot of that now, like in cancers. I have a personal friend too who's attached to this, and a lot of my friends also know 3, 4, or 5 people who suddenly have fast-acting cancers. People have already passed away. There's a lot going on, Bo. And
But this, I want to
actuaries
give.
are also freaking out. The insurance brokers guys are just like, "What the hell's just going on?" They're losing their long-haul clients, and they're all like, "Usually we lose 2 or 3 a year. Now we're losing tenfold those long-term hold clients." So there's definitely something happening. Of course, the mainstream media is, "Oh, there's no correlation we can find here. There's nothing, we don't understand what's going on."
I do want to give your viewers some hope with regard to the Bible and prophetic words. Okay, God has spoken through His prophets in relation to this death cycle that's coming. Okay, it's for them. It's for them. So even if you've had the blood of Jesus will heal everybody. These people, there won't be a trace of the C19 in their body when God is done with them. This is a prophetic word. He will eradicate and wipe it off the face of this earth next year. But the death will be to those who planted the bad seeds.
Wow.
In the bad ground. Okay, so there will be a lot of lateral repercussions, things like that. But people will
we're
start to
seeing in
realize
Europe right
that
now,
the ones that are not dying. You will see people that are not dying next year. They're not dying, and they had it.
That's interesting.
There'll be one distinguishing factor of all of them. They've accepted the blood of Christ. The point is this is an awakening that's coming to the world, Jean-Claude. So I just want to give your viewers hope.
That's good. Yeah, I like that. And just to add to that too, like we've been picking up some of the psychics that there's something happening in the field. You can call it a cure. You can call it something that will counteract some of the damage that was done, but it's coming up in the field also. So if you want to say the hand of God, some technology working through man, whatever it is, there is some hope there. And even in the Web of Data too, originally they were looking at 6, whatever the numbers were. If you look at the Georgia Guidestones, it's much lower than that now, but there's still no way of telling. But we are seeing still some people now exiting also. But it will be interesting to see how there's that Wheel of Fortune card, that reversal, where the perpetrators are in fact stuck with this. And we're seeing that a lot of those people who were drinking the Kool-Aid were taking these things also. So,
if you go back and study the Bible, Jean-Claude, there's so many examples, so many of Pharaoh, right? What if there's just the tables being turned on them. Okay, there's probably the one that comes to mind, and probably the biggest example that people would know would be Pharaoh, right? He was so pissed at Israel for all the plagues that he ordered his army to kill the firstborn because he wanted Moses, his son, dead.
Right.
And what did God do? He turned his words on Pharaoh. His son was destroyed that night, as well as all of his army and all of Egypt's firstborn. All of Egypt, not the secondborn, all of Egypt's firstborn, so that you might know God is God, including the animals' firstborn. If you were there at that event and you saw just the firstborn dead of all of Egypt, including the animals, you gotta be freaked out, because who could have done that but God?
Interesting.
So
Rule 29.
Yeah, so little twin basically. So that just indicates, Jonathan Kahn, has the book Shemitah Cycle. 2015 was a year of rest, so nothing event. But now we're heading into the next 7 years of next year. Again, tying in with the Black Horse. I just wanted to point that out to you and your viewers. That 2022 should be an interesting year with regard to biblical Shemitah Cycle.
Okay.
2019 we've talked about. That's the hockey stick moment we've seen so far in money printing. So that's the start of the opening of the third seal,
and that's what they're admitting to. So these
exactly.
They're
actually showing you that.
Wow.
Daniel prophecy of 4.5 or 2,500 years ago, that's not broken to date. And then just a mind-boggling prophecy of kingdoms coming to existence and then falling, and other kingdoms coming, rising, and then falling, and it's just mind-boggling that every part of that has come to happen so far. And that takes us to slide 21, which is the fall of the statue, which is a stone was cut out by no human hand, meaning God. And it struck the image at his feet of iron and clay and broke it to pieces, and it collapsed. Okay, so this is the fall of Babylon. That's what we're supposed, that is what we're waiting for, that moment in time. That moment in time ties in page 22. And I've read this to you several times, and I love reading this because this is what it's all about. The spirit of page 22, the spirit of the Lord is upon me because the Lord has anointed me to bring the good news to the poor. He has sent me to comfort the brokenhearted and to proclaim that the captives will be released and the prisoners will be freed, to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor and the day of vengeance of our God. Isaiah 61, 1 and 2. So this is why no one can call that event the day or the hour, because it's a secret. It's a 24-hour window. Next page is.
Hey, hold on just a sec. Yep. Hold on just a second. I wanted to. There's a lot of new viewers on the channel also. But speaking of this moment here, and the ankle and the crashing of this statue, you and I had talked about this imagery that hit the news waves for the audience. So I just thought I'd bring this back up here, but this is the 1, 2, and then the three. There you go.
Down for the count. Yep.
Down for the count. Exactly. All right.
Foreshadow. And that actually happened on the very last day of spring, or is it winter? I think very last day of spring of this past year. So it's just the time of things are, God does things in seasons. He's a God of time and he's a God of seasons. And right now we're in the season of fall. They fall and fall. Page 23 is what you've been describing here a few times already. This is the overturning of the table, the money chambers. This God comes in the temple and just literally turns the tables on them. And then this is page 24. We don't need to play. I've played this before on one of your interviews before, Jean-Claude. But this is the prophecy given by Kim Clement on Trump's birthday. And the number that I work with, 7. This is 7 years ago. In reference to right now. Wow. So some of the key points, I wrote them down here, so we'll need to listen to the interview, but video, but those who want to listen to it, just click that video later on tonight, click it, and you'll go take your right to, you can listen to it. But here, the 3 key points was they fall and fall. And they is the evil ones. Okay. I will release the resources. Okay. Well, that relates to God's money. He's going to release it. Okay. And this is really cool. I will show you who I have chosen to pray for and guide this nation. You shall rejoice, for it is my man. It is my chosen David. Remember, Jesus was from the bloodline of David. Okay. And so we're supposed to see who his man is. And don't be surprised if it's, if we see something dramatic potentially happen here with 45. I don't know. I'm just reading the prophecy.
Right.
But it's kind of interesting. And all this is supposed to go down before December, December into December 21 as fall ends. So I thought you would enjoy that. Page 25 is Hypnotic November. We just passed that. We've seen the start of the fall of CNN. And the Cuomo, okay, and then the second part of the prophecy was for December or for winter. Historic December is coming, but the prophecy for winter is this: I will make them, meaning those that have prepared, them happy. So you're supposed to be very happy in winter, or we are supposed to be very happy in winter, with regard to
those who are not on the fence.
Yeah, except for those that are on the fence, because they will not be blessed.
Right.
So then this takes us back into, I've covered this before, page 26, talks specifically about May 26 being the center of time. I'm not going to go through that again, but that was a Mayflower. Mayflower's 400 years from when it landed. Israel was in bondage for 400 years. Okay, so this is a 400-year cycle that's come to an end. In the heavenlies, it started May 26. We haven't seen it manifest yet on Earth.
Good point. Yeah.
Okay. We haven't seen it manifest. The protractor calculations on page 27. And so that was supposed to happen no earlier than November 22nd. So anytime after November 22nd, we're supposed to see it. Okay. Fall ends December 21. So I don't know what's coming. I'm just saying we're beyond the 180 days. We're at that no one knows the day or the hour moment.
Yeah.
And we're about to see winter show up. And we're supposed to have a 180-degree reversal into May of next year.
Wow.
So we are at that moment in time where no one knows the day or the hour. That's why on page 28, it's the moment, the event is delayed. We don't know. No one knows the day or the hour. as stated in Matthew. Page 29, the wealth transfer, I've stated this before, but what's coming? And this has been reiterated by the prophets, which you'll listen to in just a second. Next slide. But it's the greatest move of God's Spirit ever in the history of this world. This is not like this is going to be greater than the Red Sea. Whatever it is coming, it's going to be the greatest move of God's Spirit ever in the history of the world. One of God's biggest surprises. This is a surprise because no one knows the day or the hour, right? One of the biggest surprises to ever hit the elite who have manipulated the price of everything for generations. The U.S. dollar will crash. Goliath will fall. God's people will begin to rise up in America and in the world. So next slide is page 30. Jean-Claude, your view and your viewers, you want to, this is God speaking. This is the Creator speaking through his probably most anointed prophet in the world. Your viewers have to listen to this. I've clipped out 3 minutes of the video. It's 40 minutes in general, but wow, just play it. It's incredible.
Okay, hold on a second here. Let me just cue that up precisely for the audience and change my audio settings for you. Okay, hopefully this works. Let me know right away. Okay.
What I'm about to release in the earth, no one has ever seen before. Even in the early church, saith God, they have not yet remembered or seen what I'm about to release in the earth. For I'm going to release such a presence of God that your children that are agnostic, that are gay, that are atheists, that don't believe in me, they're going to say, what is this? As they weep in my presence, so shall I cause the demon spirits of hell and have ravaged their souls to make them let go, and the young and the children shall be returned unto the kingdom of the Lord. I am God. In a moment's time, I can say it's over, and it's over. Do you not know, saith the Lord, that everything that breathes comes out of my sovereign will? You do not know how great I am and how mighty I am. Did I not say every knee shall bow and every tongue shall confess that Jesus Christ is Lord? And when 2022 comes into being, the host of heaven is going to be released into the earth, and they shall facilitate, they shall begin to carry out the will of God. You're going to see angels, you're going to see them in the midst of the house of the Lord when the miraculous begins to take place, and the paralyzed begin to come out of wheelchairs, and creative miracles begin to take place. It will be because the angels have driven out the forces of evil and the forces of darkness. I put a shout in your spirit, saith the Lord, for this is a day that the Lord has made, and you will rejoice and be glad in it. I am not under the authority of man's law. Before there was ever you, there was me, saying, God, this is my hour, this is my day, this is my church, saying God. And those that shook their finger in my face and said, we don't bow down, well, know this, saying God, you will bow down, because I am God, and I made you, and you did not make me. There is a holy shaking, saith the Lord, has been released in the atmosphere. Hold on, saith God, I am just getting started, and when I get started, there's going to be a release of the sovereign hand of God, such as the world has never seen. So the Lord would say to you, I need you to rest. I need you to stop worrying about how I'm going to do this. For I'm not even told my prophet, saith the Lord, what I'm about to do. But this will happen in a 24-hour period, saith God. It will blindside the evil and the wicked in the earth. They will not see it coming. There will be no warning. There will be no ability to make contingencies on what I'm going to do. It's just going to happen, and in one moment, saith God, it will be sealed by the power of the Holy Ghost.
There you go. Hold on a second here. Okay, Bo, back to you. Go ahead.
So, if that wasn't the power and the fire in that presentation is incredible. Have your viewers click on the link. There's 40, you can listen to the whole thing. I took 3 minutes of it.
Mm-hmm.
It is mind-blowing prophecy. And the Kent Christmas is truly, truly anointed. And that was God speaking. That was the Creator speaking through him, and he is pissed. God is pissed at these people. The prophecy goes on about these people cannot hide. God's gonna come after them. They are finished. It just goes on and on. It is truly historic, that presentation. So, just to finish up on our presentation here, the slide 31 takes us to, where, November into December. We're now in December, but we're supposed to see this absolute turnaround. We've seen a look behind the veil. We've talked about that. So,
right.
I thought it was November. Now, basically, we're into December. Basically, we're at that magic moment. Not freaking, I shouldn't use the word magic. It's a biblical moment in time where, we literally go 180. There's a sharp turn to the right, and how this which way the world is headed. Another prophetic word, I believe, is going to tie into John 11, how the death of Lazarus. So, United States will fall. It's going to look horrible. It's going to look God forsaken us. It's going to look really bad. But again, God did this in like in the death of Lazarus. He waited 4 days, and then he brought him back to life. The reason he waited 4 days was so the world would know that God is God. It doesn't matter if it's 1 day, 2 days, or 4 days. God walked up and said, Lazarus, come out. And he walked out of that tomb alive. And there were witnesses all to that. There was like people standing outside watching a dead man come back to life after 4 days. So we're supposed to fall, and then we're supposed to come back to life. When we come back to life, we come back to life in the new. So we birth into the new era.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, and that new era is going to be the era of, backed by God's money, gold, and silver. And to finish up, page 33, some awesome words again. Another truly awesome prophet. You want to listen to this, Julie Green Ministries. You don't want to click it here, but your viewers can go listen to these. I've set all this up for your viewers because it's awesome. It's like where she talks about the Exodus. These people are done. Some of the key points, all the media that is going to get destroyed. Biden, Obama, Pelosi, Schumer, none of these people can hide. None of them can hide. None can hide. So go listen to the prophecies. And then the last ones, the bottom right-hand corner here on page 33, that little character right there, okay, is soon to be the most hated man on earth. That is a prophetic word.
Yeah.
So that is about to happen here. And then next page takes it. These are the gates of hell, how they've controlled us with money. Back to the early part of the presentation, it's all about money. Money is what's done it all. They've been able to control all aspects from church, family, education, government, media, social media, artists, entertainment, everything has been controlled via money. And the next slide, page 35, the gates of hell shall not prevail. And you're going to see the fall. And then you're going to see a new government, new military, new social media, new entertainment, new artists, new back to the original family unit of how it's supposed to be, but basically a new financial system, because that's the root of it is a new financial system. And then, after that, next slide, a couple of interviews I did, but basically the gist of that is, gold and silver will rise with God's money. So really important to if you want to listen to those videos. And lastly, again, 37, next page, they came early. So these people that run the world came early, and they're about to be knocked down and set back into place. So your viewers can go click that video later on and listen to that interview there.
Okay.
And it'll give you more information. So we're heading into a new era. Where we're here, but the bad side is we have only a window of time to repair. Once this thing comes live, we're heading into fourth seal, which is famine, pestilence. Okay, and that's supposed to we have about 3 to maybe 4 years to prepare for what's coming still. You can't forget Revelation. We're only at third seal. Then comes famine. Okay, then that's nothing compared to what the 5th, 6th, and 7th seal are. The 5th and 6th seals, 6 and 7, we're talking 100-pound hailstorms, and just a third of the oceans disappear, a third of the land disappears. Like all these things are still that are in the prophecy. That's still to come, but that's still years out. So we don't need to worry about that just yet. But the key right now is, like we talked about, I hope people who listen to this presentation, are not the ones that are, or hope the ones didn't sit on the fence. Right. So that's really what I wanted to cover with you, Jean-Claude, today. I think we've kind of about an hour or so into this. I think we've covered a tremendous amount of information.
Absolutely.
Do you have any questions?
Maybe for the audience. Well, first, I have a comment here. I was reading some of the comments in the chat. There were, I guess, sharing opinions about some of the prophets and the energy being shared. And I only want to say, guys, keep an open mind. I mean, we're all different people, and we're all tuning into different frequencies as we're trying to pull in this data, and we're all basically working on the same side. So
I will say one thing, okay, with regards to prophets, okay? It's very clear in the Bible, touch not my anointed, the prophets. I want to be very clear about that, because should you do something to harm them or go against them, it's very clear what the Bible has in terms of it discusses about the prophets. So it's very clear, read the Bible, but touch not my anointed. And so that's all I can say,
and to be clear, like, that's what my show is all about: bring people with different points of view. And again, we all have different ways of communicating our points of views, and we have to be open to that. And for some people, what I'm trying to say to the audience is, you don't really need to listen to the flow of the message, or the energy behind the message. It's the words that count, like words of direction.
Jean-Claude, I have great respect for you. For your viewers and for everything that you do. Okay. I've not one time in the presentation that I've ever done, and I'm not here to judge. Okay. I'm here to give information. And then people who listen, your job is to discern.
That's it. Exactly. Exactly. And then to take action and prepare if you haven't already. Exactly. Like say, Laura, much appreciated, Jean-Claude. I appreciate that, Laura. I really do. Okay. Bo, yes, maybe for the audience members here, crypto, very maybe succinctly here, moving forward in December, you talked about gold and silver here. What's the correlation?
I think they're tied at the hip. I think silver, I think crypto might jump a day early, maybe. If you see cryptos jump, don't be surprised to see gold rip the next day. I think they're tied at the hip here. I think all of it's because it's all related to the dollar, right? So when the dollar event happens, I think it's all going to be really tightly tied at the hip.
Okay, very good. And so for people who are looking into maybe getting into crypto, seeing some of your forecasts here, for people who are a little bit more advanced, who maybe want to trade on this information, what do you have for them here at gold2020.com, Bo?
Yeah, so on page 97, we've got, I cover what's called a Bitcoin index. It covers cycles. So what's my specialty? I give information free to the world, okay? That is what I do. I want to give prophetic and biblical information to the world for free. It's in relation to, to timelines. Now, those who want to, take the extra little step and really love cryptos and want to go, or, really like cryptos and want to get involved in trading them, seeing some of the moves, I provide the cycle patterns that I see coming for Bitcoin. We've had about a 90, high 80% accuracy on turns. It's been kind of incredibly awesome in terms of predicting the movement. So we still have, some sizable movements expected here in the near future. So if your viewers want to see the cycle, the patterns, that actually correlate with the dates that you're giving with Cliff.
Yeah, I saw the slide you shared me earlier for your members. I'm like, wow, that's right on timing.
So those dates style, correlate very similar to what you were stating. So if you want to see the patterns, we have them. You can go to our website, gold2020forecast.com, and right there, you plug in the promo code. It'll give it to you 14 days. You can see everything backwards, everything you want to see. It's all there, including present and most current update, which I just posted yesterday, the 6th of December. Used to use Mystic 49, and if you get that at 50% off. So rather than $99, you get it for $49 for 2 weeks. If you love it, stay. If you don't want to, cancel. It's just we've got a very, very happy subscriber base, but it's just we just try to do our best job and be honest with everybody. Those who have no clue about crypto, the next page, Easy Crypto School, same thing. Enter the code, you get a 50% discount for a whole month, and it basically shows you this is important. If you don't know crypto, you need this. Okay, and if you do know crypto but you don't know how to use wallets and how to store everything correctly, you're keeping your coins on exchanges. It's not smart. Okay, so we show you how to do all that. So for $39, you can basically get steps from A to Z, from how to initially get some coins and then how to ultimately store them safely on a wallet. And so that's provided on the Easy Crypto School. and then use the code Mystic 39, and you'll get it all for $39. So that's again, and those are for people who don't know much about cryptos.
Okay, very good. So, folks, that's gold2020forecast.com. The links are in the description box below, including also these coupon codes. And if you guys are also looking for silver, this is the discount offered to the Beyond Mystic audience for this week, provided from Miles Franklin. Here again, a lot of people are panicking already into this, and they're looking for bulk purchases. So Andy did bring up these 1,000 ounce COMEX bars, and they're going a lot faster than we thought. So a lot of people are looking at bulk right now. Again, we're at the last minute.
You ever have? You pick up one of those?
They're heavy as hell.
They're heavy.
I know.
I think 100 ounces are just a better way to go sometimes, because you can't get your fingers underneath those things, Jean-Claude.
It's a heavy one for sure. But of course, that's one of the specials. We've got many specials out here. Of course, also here the new 2022's Maple Leafs from the Royal Canadian Mints at $5.25 over spot. Really good price here. So check it out. That's beyondmystic.net/silver. Let me bring that link also down to you guys. And Bo, let's going back here to you're having an interview later today or tomorrow with that.
Yes, I'm actually interviewing next with him. I'm going to post it in a few hours from now. So we interview probably 10 minutes here, so I got to get going.
Okay, so very good. Yeah, me too. I have another one at 4. So guys, that's Gold 2020 forecast on YouTube. Again, also the links here are
and Manny, boy, he is an incredible prophet. So I think you might enjoy this, especially because I know he will be talking about cryptos.
Awesome. Well, guys, go and check it out here at Gold 2020 Forecast on YouTube. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. Thank you so much for all your comments and your support, everyone, and being open-minded and to share all of this information. So we're all on the same team here, trying to do the same thing and create a better world for all of each other. So thank you so much, everyone, for watching and supporting the show. And this was Time Space Continuum, where the woo-woo meets the Bible, of course, with Mr. Bo Polny. I'm Jean-Claude BeyondMystic, and please remember to like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you soon. Au revoir.
God bless.